Hey, welcome to my brand new channel where I talk about being a nomadic dad and what it's like to travel with a family of five, what I've learned on this journey of being an online entrepreneur, having a partner at 33 and three kids, and living in Latin America and Africa. As you can imagine, that comes with a lot of things. And today, I wanted to talk about finance because that's one question that I get a lot is the affordability side. I think that I'm going to lean in on that a lot on this channel because the affordability and the money side of things, it ties into mindset and patient and economics and a lot of things, right? So at the moment, I'm in Sao Paulo. We actually live in Bahia, in Chapada Diamantina. For those of you that don't know, Bahia has the largest Afro-diasporan community. Well, Bahia has the most Afro-diasporan people outside of Africa. I'm still learning to say that right. And we're there with my wife from South Africa and my three kids. So I refer to her as my wife, but we're not officially married yet, and I'm going to get into that in another video. Why not? And the reason why we've chosen the location where we're in, it's an absolutely beautiful location called Vale do Capão in Chapada Diamantina, a very touristy place, is because of affordability. So we have access to all the basics, whether it's high-speed internet, decent transport, roads, shops, tourism. So there's a lot of international people, schools, quite decent schools actually, for the size of the village, cafes, you name it, bakeries. We have access to it, and I hope that in the future, as this channel develops, that I can actually take videos and show you guys around. But for now, I'm just putting on the phone and taking videos as they come. And we chose that place because of affordability and all the other places that we've lived in, which is quite a lot at the moment. I think we've gone over 10 different cities / villages that we've lived in at the moment across the world. When I say across the world, mainly Africa and Latin America. And we normally look at where can we get the most buck for our money. So where do you get a decent lifestyle at a lower cost? So things like organic food, things like access to move around, access to electronics, fiber, internet, decent power, so electricity that's semi-reliable, at least 80 to 90%, right? You want that at least. And everything else that you might think of that you need as a modern Western person that's traveling, right? So like I want to have a barber somewhere within 1 or 2 hours vicinity where I can cut my hair and look decent. Even though now it's getting a bit rough. I like it rough, I'm not gonna lie, but I want these things around me. I want to be able to get a massage, jump in a sauna, do a cold plunge. And what I found is that, first of all, you're not going to get everything in one place, right? So that's number one. You're never going to get everything in one place. Whether you move to Central America, like your Costa Rica and your Panama, where, you might be able to get a decent lifestyle by the beach and very good weather. I think Central America has some of the best weather if you like that heat and humidity. The sun is always out. You'll get some lifestyle benefits at practically free / low cost. If you decide to go to the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, for example, where you can access the beach. I think it's like 150 kilometers of beach, and most of the people living close to the beach are poor. It's not like high rises like most of the coastlines, right? So you can get a nice little place by the beach and you have access to the beach for a very cheap price, paying 400, 300 or even cheaper a month. People do live like that. Now, Costa Rica is not the cheapest place. Like I said in my last video, there are other things that are more expensive, but you can get that. But then you go to a place like Ecuador where we were able to get really, really good food. I mean, they don't know what organic means, but they have their own, I don't want to call it permaculture, but let's just say indigenous techniques of growing food that are organic. From my knowledge, they don't use pesticides that much because they can't afford it. These are people with small homesteads that grow food and sell it hand to hand. Like they literally sell it to you. This is the kale that I've grown over the past week, and I'm selling it to you at $1 for half a kilo. So we had such good food. I remember going into these markets and it would just be rows and rows and rows of organic fruits and vegetables. And there's many of them. There'd be one market here, and then 3-4 blocks down, there's another market with just rows and rows of organic food. I mean, you don't get that in the West. You don't get that in many places because people don't really have that culture of growing food. So there they do. People would have a job and they'll grow food. They'll do something on the side. Maybe they're a taxi man or something, or they look after children and they grow food. So you always have access to good food. But again, Ecuador has its minuses as well. For example, land was really expensive in Ecuador. I remember inquiring about this 3 hectare piece of land in Cuenca, in an area called Shawabamba. And these are places you can look up. Chaluabamba in Cuenca. It's one of the most affluent places in Ecuador, but it had a lot of local people that been there for 50 to 100 years, for generations. So they might have been lower middle class, upper working class people, but they were now among some of the most wealthiest people in Ecuador. And I remember I connected with an older gentleman who was in his 70s, and he had kids who worked in the city. And he had a piece of land by the river, stunning piece of land, right next to the river in the city. It was like a portal, a bubble in the middle of, quite a bustling city. Cuenca, it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like a New York, right? Or it's like 400,000 people, 300,000 people. But it's a bustling city and people are moving around. But when you're there, it's so peaceful. And he was renting it out to, again, people who were farming food. And I remember inquiring about the land, and in dollars, he told me that it was like he wouldn't even think of selling it unless it's over $500,000 that somebody offers it to him. Somebody offers him. So land is really expensive. So wherever you go, there's gonna be push and pull. There's gonna be some things that are cheaper, some things that are more expensive. But generally, when you're traveling in South America, Africa, Central America, I've also lived in Asia, but I'm not mentioning them now because I haven't had a family in Asia, so I haven't lived there with a family, so I can't really say much about that now. But generally, if you're traveling in those areas, you're gonna save money on certain things. So when we choose, we have our things that we prioritize, which is, like I said to you, food, internet for my work, power, nature. So whether it is the beach or whether it is having a forest nearby. So we're usually in quite touristy areas, and access to a major city is really important to us. At the moment, I'm missing that a lot because where we actually stay is 8 hours from a major city, and I do miss being closer to a major city because, like I said, there's things I like. I like going to nice gyms. I like going to the spa and the sauna and all these things. Like even now, I'm about to go and eat out, and at a buffet with salads and fish and things that I might not be able to get in a restaurant in a village because they don't have the variety. So it's nice to be close to a city. So it depends on what you want, and that's what I really want to talk about in this video. Is more of like the finance side of things, the affordability, and we can always talk about how do I make the money, but I guess that's going to be a whole other video. But generally, when you move to another place, you will save money. You will need your own income, so you would need to either rent out your house that you currently have in the West, and or if you're not in the West, maybe you are in a developing country. But you can still make a decent income if your house is in a city, right? So you can rent out your house and use that money to travel. I know people who do that. It's not, you even $1,000 a month. If you have a house in even I'd say like Nairobi. I know London is insane, but if you have a house in a city like Nairobi or Johannesburg, or if you're somebody that's in I'm trying to think of developing countries that speak English, because we know that if you're in Berlin or Denmark or Sweden or in any of those places that you're renting out a house, you would have enough money to travel to most countries in South America or Africa and develop a life for yourself and with children. But even if you live in a major city, in, like I said, a developing country, you can still have enough money to live in some of the places that I've lived in. Because let's say in Valle du Capao, where I stay now, a lot of people earn $500, $600 a month, $700 a month, and they're able to sustain themselves. Family, wife, maybe one kid. Once you start getting to 2, 3 children, things start getting a bit more expensive, but you can maintain one kid. So what I'm saying is, if you can figure out how to get a basic income for yourself, then you can make it work. Now, there is also the conversation of moving to a place and making money in that place, but then you do run into legal risks. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have made money abroad, so I've gone to other countries and made money there. Not a lot, but it has helped. And I didn't exactly do it with any business visa. I just did it because it was accessible to me. And the places where I've lived, people around me were also making money. So people were taking advantage of the tourism industry, and these would be foreigners from the US, from France, from Italy, and I would literally watch them making money right there with tourists, because tourists like to deal with people who look like them sometimes. And I got involved, not straight away, but I took my time. I saw what people were doing, and when I needed it and my online income dropped, I was like, okay, let me jump in with them. So it is possible, but at the time I didn't think about the legal consequences, and I'm a lot more aware of it now than before. It is not impossible to move to a country and make an income, but I think in the current economic climate, you have to be very aware of the legal consequences, because people will call you out a lot more now, I think, than they would when I was doing it. There seems to be a bit of a recession going on at the moment, and when that happens, people try to find a scapegoat, and a lot of the times it's foreigners. It's the rich tourists. They're driving up the prices, which is not always the case. It is sometimes, and it isn't. So again, video for another day. I know this is not organized. I haven't got like a sheet of paper where I write my subjects. I just turn on the camera and I talk, and that's just what I'm going to do for now until maybe a month or so down the line. I'll probably start to do a bit different. Okay, guys. Peace.